So my next adventure was in getting married and becoming a father. And um, obviously, there's something about these close, intimate relationships that um, challenge you and force you to face yourself and your patterns. And so, like what happened and what happens to a lot of um, avoidant people, submissive people, is that they tend to get into a relationship with a dominant person. And you don't even know it at the time. You know, there's just certain characteristics and traits that are lacking in each of you that you find attractive in the other person. And it happens mostly on an unconscious level. You know, we don't know that we're doing it. Like while our conscious selves are romancing and getting to know each other and falling in love, and it's wonderful, you know, to feel so accepted by someone and so wow, you know, it's living in a world where you're so disconnected from everything and everyone and have so many inhibitions and fears and suspicions and doubts and now to just be able to let it all go and to be able to be yourself, who you really are, and to discover that who yourself is fun and funny and spontaneous and cool, and it's a wonderful thing. But now, when the while the conscious selves are romancing, the unconscious selves are dancing in the dark. And what I mean by that is that my submissive patterns, I mean, while we're romancing, we forget about, we want to see the best in the other person, and we want to project our best selves also. And so we put our best foot forward, put on our best face, and also we're filled with these feel good love hormones. And so, you know, we're kind of high, and so we're not really truly being ourselves, or we're being a certain version of ourselves, and we're seeing a certain version of the other person who's also doing the same thing. And so these shadow sides, all the parts of ourselves that are really not that cool and interesting and fun, and that actually we've denied and repressed and hidden and unlived, and you know, all these repressed emotions and unlived aspirations and all of those things, um, sooner or later they are going to surface, because you can't hide it forever. In fact, as soon as the honeymoon is over and you settle down and you're in the same house and you fall into a routine and a pattern, then there's no longer any pressure to be a certain way. And so in your home, behind closed and locked doors, these shadows are going to emerge, you know, and we're going to show our true selves. And so, yeah, like what happened in our case is that, okay, from my side, like being submissive and passive and kind of avoidant, not kind of, like very avoidant for much of my life, but also I would, uh, out there, I would try to appear confident and try to appear relaxed. And to an extent, it's not just an appearance. You know, to be fair to myself, there is an element of relaxed and calmness about me. But internally, my experience, like, it was very tense, and in, in the body, physically, but also emotionally and mentally. You know, I was quite stressed out and anxious and hyper vigilant and hyper aroused, and like. Yeah, it wasn't pleasant inside of me at all, but you have to hide all of that in order to function in the world, but also in order to relate to other people and that. But it makes you a bit of a, what can you say, anomaly, because you're not being true and genuine to yourself, and so you come off as inauthentic and like your confidence is a bit fake. Your relaxedness, your calmness is a bit fake also, and yeah. So, anyways, my wife began to have like she is a dominant person, and she started becoming quite bossy and sometimes rude, and then she'll pretend like she's just joking. And, so I started to see that aspect of her personality. And so at some point, she became physically violent, and she started hitting and scratching and biting and eyeball gouging and blaming and accusing, and then it got progressively worse. And then there was suicide threats and suicide attempts and self-mutilation, cutting herself, and knife threats in the middle of the night. And she would do all of these things in front of our child. And yeah, so it was just terrible to see my child, this pure, innocent, wonderful, beautiful child, being affected by this behavior, this emotional instability.